I'm Igor Uncut, and this is the List Building Lifestyle, a podcast for those who want to build a large profitable email list and make six figures from anywhere in the world. If you would like to get rich by building a large email list while helping people, this podcast is for you. I also invite you to attend a free web class I'm conducting this week to find out how I built a list of 4,331,656 email subscribers at a profit. Secure your free seat at igor.cx. Attend this free workshop to discover an easy way to get 50 to 500 new email leads per day on complete autopilot without losing tons of money. Just go to igor.cx to attend this free web class. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle. Welcome back to another episode of the List Building Lifestyle with your host, Igor Uncut. It's been a decade since I decided to fire my boss using online marketing, and it's been 8 years since I went online full time. Now, to this day, I still have no idea how to introduce myself to people who don't know me when they ask me, like, Igor, what do you do? Because you see, there's a few challenges with that. First, I don't want to lie. I don't want to tell people I'm a doctor or come up with some other lame excuse why I drive a nice car and live in a nice house. And I also, I don't want anymore to tell them I'm an internet marketer, because to them it sounds like voodoo magic, and they think that if I'm an internet marketer, then I just will market anything that they will give me. For example, I was just invited to this networking event here in Toronto. So it was a nice event. It was on a rooftop. There was great barbecue, great food, nice people. And most people there were service providers, asset managers, real estate agents, insurance agents, tax advisors and stuff like that. So, when anyone asked me, what do I do? And I told them I'm an internet marketer, the first thing they assumed is that I want to market their product. Like, they would immediately start asking me questions. How can I help them to sell their services? How can I help them get more clients? Stuff like that. And they were shocked when I didn't bother trying to recruit them as my customer. In fact, I told a bunch of them, I said, I'm not looking for clients. They're like, what do you mean you're not looking for clients? You're always looking for clients. No, I don't need clients. I'm my own client. I'm my own best client. They're like, what do you mean you're your own client? And I go on to explain to them that since I have this amazing skill set of getting targeted eyeballs to websites and able to convert those eyeballs into subscribers and customers, the best thing I figured I could do is just to promote myself. And as a result, I built my own company, have multiple streams of income, have the freedom to enjoy life on my own terms, and yada 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 yada. So it just goes to show you how it's really hard. Like, the life of an internet marketer is really, really difficult and lonely sometimes, because we spend most of our time alone in front of our computers. Sure, we get to connect with like-minded people over the internet, and there's like a whole community of people like us, and that's awesome. But other than that, in real life, it's really, really difficult. It's really, really lonely. For example, when I arrived here in Canada, one of my students, who's actually turned into one of my best friends now, he lives here, and when he discovered I'm coming, he was very excited. So as soon as I came, a routine was established where I sit down for coffee with him nearly every other day. We started hanging out more, and one of the reasons for that is because both of us feel very lonely in this really busy world where people don't get marketing. Like, there's very few people in this world with whom I can sit down and have a conversation about, promoting online information products, or doing affiliate marketing, or business opportunities, or traffic generation, or list building, or subject lines and headlines. Like, there's very few people that you can physically sit down with and have that sort of conversation and really have a good time, because most people don't get that. Most people to this day, I don't care how professional they are, I don't care how successful they are, I don't care where they live, most people have no idea what you're talking about if you mention things like list building or email marketing or copywriting or ads, etc. Most people, their vision of what online marketing is pretty much starts and ends with Facebook. Like that's all they know. They just know social media and Facebook ads. That's all they know. They cannot go beyond that. Their mind cannot comprehend things beyond these two things. And therefore it creates for a very lonely path to success, if you will. Now, of course, that's a downside, but at the same time, it's also an upside, because if there's very few people who are really, really good at this skill set, right? The online marketing skill set, what this tells you is that if you get really good at it, you will build a thriving career. You'll have, many clients paying you big amounts of money to market their businesses. In fact, what I'm seeing here ever since arriving to Canada is a huge opportunity at marketing offline businesses and managing their marketing for them for a hefty monthly retainer. Like, I'm seeing people here try to get customers the old-fashioned way to this day. They have no idea what a funnel is. I mean, if you try to explain to them what a webinar is, there's no way they can understand it. It's like they're stuck 20 years behind. It's like they're back in the 1990s where, the only way to get customers was by referral or something. So if you're an online marketer and you want to make some quick money, the easiest thing I think you can do is to just approach offline businesses and say, I'll manage your social media, or I'll manage your, ads, I'll manage your funnels, I'll manage whatever. Because while the big companies here, like banks and fast food chains, while they do try to market online and on mobile, like they'll try to get an app going and they'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars coding that, or they'll have a website and they'll maybe around some contest or something. Like, their marketing sucks big time. Like, there's very few hardcore direct response ads that are really geared toward that particular specific customer for that particular type of business that I've seen since arriving here, and I've been here for a few months now. And on one hand, again, this is just a vast opportunity. Like, there's money hidden in plain sight for anyone who understands marketing. And if you're, the only reason for you not to be making money right now as an online marketer is only because you're not self-aware enough, or maybe you're too lazy. Like, that's the only reason. Everything else is just acquirable, right? But also, with that said, I mean, how come people suck at marketing? Because marketing really makes the world go round. If there was no marketing, if there were no people like us who specialize at influence and at moving people from a state of a slothful, nearly dead sort of entity to a fired up action taker, right? If it wasn't for people like us, the economy would tank a long time ago, because the economy depends on money exchanging hands. That's what the economy is about. It's all about having money go from one hand to another all the time. Like, if the money would come to the hands of one person who would then refuse to give it away to other people for any reason, like exchange of value or just charity, the economy would not survive. The entire world would pretty much tank, because it really depends on the movement of finances from one pocket to another, which is, on one hand is a great thing. On the other hand, it's really challenging, because most people have the scarcity mindset about money. They cannot, they don't want to give it away. They work really hard to get it, so they fight to keep it, and they will do anything to prevent from spending it. Like, they'll really go to great length to do that. So, it's a lonely road. It's a lonely road for an entrepreneur. It's a lonely journey for an internet marketer. And when you choose this career path, when you choose this way to make money, or to achieve your life's passion, to help people, get ready for that. Get ready for being misunderstood as a marketer. Get ready to be misunderstood on pretty much every single level. I'll give you another example. So I've been to a birthday party a couple of weeks back, and I got talking with a lady who's now a family friend, and she works part-time as a teacher. And so she's got this classic blue-collar, middle-class mindset where you need a job, you have a good job, and you'll be able to pay your bills. And if you want to buy something, you get it on financing, yada, yada, yada. So, she started complaining about how she wants a new car, and it's been 5 years since she changed her car. But the car she wants, the monthly payment on that is a little bit high for her. And I started an argument saying how we have become the slaves of our stuff. How we spend most of the time obsessing about how to make more money so we can spend more money, or we obsess about how we don't make enough and then we invest a lot of time to figure out how to spend less or spend it in a smart way. So the bulk of our life becomes pondering on these things rather than pondering on the things that really matter: our relationships, our health, our thriving as a society, personal fulfillment, and so on and so forth. The life really just becomes all about finances and keeping your head above water and getting as much as possible from it, rather than just, again, living life the way it was meant to be lived, in my humble yet accurate opinion. So anyway, I started this argument with her, and she starts to protect the fact this North American lifestyle where people pretty much finance everything, and they work really hard around the clock. They hustle to pay off their mortgages, to pay off their cars, and then they take on new mortgages and new cars and hustle even harder. And then they have kids, and then they have to combine the hustle with parenting, and then they want their kids to succeed, so they have to choose the right schools and extracurricular activities and etc. Right? So it just becomes this giant, super long, disastrous rat race that steals your joy, steals your life. It just becomes like a life suck more than anything. I really don't consider people who live that lifestyle to have a life. Like, I really believe that people who live in this rat race don't have life figured out. I believe life is not about, waking up in the morning and hustling really hard to pay off your car or to pay off your house. And that's why I was always averse to taking on, financing or any kind of mortgage payment, mortgages or anything like that. That's why, for my parents, I purchased their home for them in cash. For that particular reason, I don't want to get on any debt. For the same reason, any car that I've ever bought, I bought it in cash. For the same reason that I was never fond of that kind of lifestyle, even when I started my life. And I was fortunate enough to read, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad early on, and it kind of put me on the right path. But for people like my friend, that's the lifestyle. Yo, it's Igor. If you're loving the content, hop on over to listbuildinglifestyleshow.com for more free training and a free transcript of this episode. Oh, and I'd really appreciate if you logged into iTunes and rated the show. It really helps. Thanks. That's the life they want to live. That's the life they know how to live. And what really pissed me off in that conversation was that she protected that lifestyle, and she said, look, life isn't long enough for you to make enough money to be able to afford the things you really want. Now, I didn't bother to explain to her that, no, you're actually wrong. Life is long enough for you to earn as much money as you want to be able to afford the things that you want, because, there's people out there who do make a shit ton of money and are able to afford, $4 million boats and $50 million homes, drive nice cars worth $1 million or more. And I see these people all around me, everywhere here in Canada. Like, just when I went to this networking event, like, I walked out of the building. When it was over, there was a Lamborghini parked next to the building. Probably somebody arrived in Lamborghini. I crossed the street. I sat in my car and I went home. But the fact of the matter is that there are people out there who make as much money as they want to be making for one reason or another. And really upset me about this whole conversation with my friend is that rather than asking herself, how can I earn more money? What can I do to earn more money? She simply settled and said, you know what, because that's the way I live my life right now, that means that's how my life is supposed to be. And that just because my friends live their lives exactly the same way, with very little difference. Like, some make a little bit more, some make a little bit less, but for the most part, that's the life they live. That's the way you live your life. Well, I disagree. I believe that's a very narrow-minded way to think about life. And I believe that you can create the kind of lifestyle you want to create, because I know I've created that for myself. Yes, there's some sacrifices, but not to a point where you sacrifice your entire lifestyle and you settle for this kind of mediocrity. This is the one thing that I really hate when people do, is when they settle for being mediocre or less than mediocre. Like, I respect people who strive to be extraordinary. They don't necessarily need to be extraordinary. They don't necessarily need to achieve that extraordinary result. But if they're deliberately and very, very aggressively strive to be extraordinary in at least one area of their life, that's enough for me to say that's a person that I respect and admire, and that's the person I want to be friends with. Because the people who settle for mediocrity on every level of their life, and the people who make up excuses as to why their life is mediocre, and they blame external factors for it, and they don't do anything about these factors, those are the people. Those are the people who do not deserve my respect. That is how I feel about it. I'll give you an example. Like, I've had plenty of limitations in my life. I came out of a very poor family of immigrants in a new country where I really didn't take on the language as well as my peers did. I had trouble with Hebrew. And even after I founded my business, which in and of itself was a miracle because I did it out of my home in Israel, like out of my bedroom in Israel, and I dominated a global market. Right, which in a big way, of course, the technology is one of the reasons. But let's face it, my English, my influence, my authority in this marketplace, it's not a given. I had to work really hard to get it, and I had to overcome circumstantial limitation to get it. So I did that, but even then, I encountered limitations that kept me from my full potential, and I did something about it. Right, I overcame these limitations, and every time I encountered a challenge, there's the first couple of hours or maybe a couple of days when I'm in a fetal out position on the floor crying about it. But then I get my shit together and I ask myself, okay, how do I solve this challenge? Do I need to talk to somebody who had this similar challenge who can help me? Do I need to read a book about it? Do I need to just try and do it and then figure out on the way? Because there is no resource I can study about it. There's no tool I can use. And that's the attitude that has served me so far and allowed me to continuously improve my life and become a better person in every area and aspect of my life. And I demand the same from the people around me, especially my loved ones and my friends. And it even got to a point where I had to leave relationships. I had to cut relationships, both with family members and with best friends from the past, as a result of encountering and of realizing that I am aggressively moving forward and my friends and family are not. As a result of just simply understanding that we're made of a different, of different material. And so when I realized that, and I let go of the people who subscribe to mediocrity, I felt first it was painful, of course, because there's a whole dilemma. Like, am I being an asshole about it? Like, am I letting my personal success blind me? But then this feeling passes very quickly, and you realize that's the best thing to do, because these are usually the people who hold you back, because you are the average income of the 5 closest people to you. So if you're constantly hanging around mediocre people, guess what? You are a mediocrity. And if you're fine with that, then awesome. And you know what? If you're fine with mediocrity, if you're fine with being mediocre, I don't think you'd be listening to this podcast. And if you are, then I would highly advise you to not listen to this podcast. In fact, if you are subscribing to mediocrity right now, if you don't feel there's anything wrong with being mediocre, then this podcast is not for you. You will not find value here. You and I subscribe to a completely different set of beliefs. But if you're somebody who strives to realize their full potential, and they don't need a monetary reason to wake up in the morning and aggressively march towards their goals, even though you may choose finances as the scorecard for your progress, this is the place for you to be. Because I subscribe to that belief. The financial element of my life is a scorecard. If my business produces, $200,000 this month or $500,000, right? It's not going to change my lifestyle. It's not going to change the kind of person I am. It's not going to influence my relationship in any way, shape, or form. It's actually not going to change anything about my life. But I am striving to increase my revenue month to month, because that's a scorecard and that's what keeps me going. That's the game I'm playing. That's the field where I'm realizing my true potential. And, many people don't realize this, but one of the ways to be truly happy is to find something you love to do. Now, when people say that, the idea that they usually mean is, find something you enjoy, something you're passionate about, and, your passion will never fail. And, on one hand, that's true, but it's only partially true, because even if you're passionate about something, oftentimes you lose that passion very quickly if things don't go well, or if you're not like super obsessed about it. But you see, if there's one thing that most successful people, most happy people are obsessed about, it's continuous improvement. And what they do is they usually find one field where they can continuously improve. So their job, occupation, profession, skill set, or their passion project is usually a playing ground. It's like a training ground for their continuous improvement and the development of their personal and professional skill sets. That's when they truly derive satisfaction and personal happiness. It's when they get to improve themselves, day to day, month to month, week to week, year to year. They can look back and say, okay, I used to be able to do this, now I'm able to do that. And this gap is what provides them with true, long-lasting, meaningful satisfaction about what they do and who they are. Again, not because of that particular skill set in that particular field, but more so about the fact that they're able to continuously apply themselves and improve themselves and their own life and the lives of the people around them as a result of continuously striving to excel. And, this is something that most people don't get. Like, a lot of people get online, for example, because they just want to make a quick buck. And then one of the reasons why they don't succeed is because this industry requires continuous and religious self-improvement. Mike Dillard, I think, said that, when he started network marketing, which is very similar to what we do, any kind of marketing is similar. When he started, he said that business was a brutal mirror of your flaws. In other words, in your business, based on the results you're getting, you can clearly tell which areas of your personality and skill set need work. And there's only two things you can do about it. Either you can accept that the fact that you suck at it and you sort of do nothing about it, or you accept that you suck at it for a few minutes and then you ask yourself, how can I get better? And then you go and get better at it, or you work with professionals who help you do that. And so anything, if you want to excel professionally, if you want to excel in your life, if you want to have personal satisfaction, it is my belief that you have to find the field, not necessarily that you're passionate about, but more so a field that allows you the freedom of continuous improvement, something that creates a training ground for unlimited opportunity to improve your skill set and improve yourself as a human being. As soon as you find that, you will not only find personal satisfaction, but you also find amazing financial success to a point where you don't have to have a job, you won't need a boss, and you won't need to for anyone else in your life to call the shots. You'll become the big kahuna, you'll become the master of your own time and of your own actions, and all because you have subscribed to that belief that continuous improvement in one particular area of your life is what I would consider in a big way one of the meanings of life. So I think that's a really cool point, really cool philosophical point to end this podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Igor Kayfetz, and until next time we chat, have a good one. Thank you for tuning in to the List Building Lifestyle. Get access to previous episodes, the transcript of today's show, and exclusive content at our website at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. Also, don't forget to claim your free seat at the traffic workshop I'm conducting this week, where I'm showing how I built a list of 4,331,656 email subscribers without losing money, and how my clients are putting anywhere from 50 to 500 new leads per day on their list at a profit without any list building experience. Just go to igor.cx to claim your free seat now.